Okay, first of all, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hi.
Hello. So, for those of us in the audience, or for those of people in the audience who may not be aware of who you are, can you please tell us a couple things about yourself before we start?
So I'm Star, also known as Staarz, 25 years old. I'm from Los Fresnos, Texas, and I'm a singer, songwriter, and cover artist.
Okay, and so how long have you been doing this whole thing for?
Um, I've been singing since I was three. I started recording like simple, stuff in my bedroom at age 18, but I didn't start releasing anything until I felt more confident in myself. So that was in 2022, which I released one song, and that
Hmm.
was I wasn't that confident. But in 2023, I just kind of went all out. So I would say since 2023 is when I kind of
So
pursued
you,
this heavily.
okay, so you've been like doing this, I guess, heavily since the past 3 to 5 years, give or take.
Yeah, like 3 years.
Hmm. Okay, so you mentioned that you were not confident. Is there maybe like a reason for that, or why would you say that was?
Yeah, I mean, the Valley is known for a lot of, country, rap, hip hop, Spanish music, Tejano, and I wasn't that confident in my music only because it was completely different than what a lot of people like here down here. So
Hmm.
I was always kind of doubting myself, like, oh my God, like, should I even pursue this? Like, would I even be successful? Would people even listen to it? Would I even make something out of myself? Especially since I'm doing a genre that not many vocalists down here do,
Hmm.
you know? So yeah.
Well, actually, I was gonna ask, how would you describe yourself as an artist? What is your style?
Mm, it's kind of hard because I do like alternative pop, dark pop. Sometimes I do indie. Sometimes I do like techno, dubstep, synthwave, darkwave, witch house. And then I could also do ballads, and I have songs with an orchestra and a choir, and then I have really big, epic, dark sounding songs like where you could hear for like a movie.
Hmm.
I don't really know if I have a certain sound because my voice is so versatile. It can make you cry, it can make you dance, it can make you like, oh my God, that's like creepy, you know?
I mean, that's good that you're able to cover such a wide variety of styles, though,
Mhm.
because a lot of people sometimes, I mean, they're really good at one thing, and that's good for them. But it sounds to me like you're trying to maybe cover a few different bases, and I think that opens up a lot more opportunities, no?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Hmm. So since starting this, I've been kind of following you here and there a little bit, and I've heard here and there about some of your accomplishments lately. So what have been some of those been for you?
The first accomplishment would be, man, there's so many, but
Uh-huh.
the first one in 2023 would be that my song got viral on TikTok. It got on Ukrainian charts, number 31. Then it rose up to Spotify Viral Global at number 51. And now it has over 44 million streams. That was an
Oh.
original that I wrote with this Ukrainian producer. The other accomplishment would be that my music's been played at EDC, Ultra, Tomorrowland, by Cascade, Alice in Wonderland, I Hate Models, Space 92, the huge names.
Hmm.
Um, I've been on labels like Trap Nation, Bin Mac, Trap City, Show Nation, Spinning Records, uh, Din Mac, which is Steve Aoki's label. Um, and my music's been played in so many music festivals from like Romania and Mexico, and it's a huge concerts. It's insane. Um, that's like all in the EDM space. But when it comes to like cinematic music, which is, the big epic movie sounding stuff, I've had stuff placed on TV, Love Island USA, Love Island UK, recently. I performed at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, which was my first stage ever that I've ever performed on, which was insane, because making music from my bedroom, then stepping foot onto this iconic stage, I wouldn't have ever thought my first stage would be the Grand Opry, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of oh, my music's been played at Walmart before.
Oh.
There's people on the radio Walmart, which is insane. Really, I get support by Tiesto and Timmy Trumpet and all those big names. Uh, yeah, so much stuff. I mean, right now my song's about to hit 20 million streams. We just released that one and it's going viral as well. And I have over 100 plus million streams across all platforms.
That is amazing, by the way. So congratulations, first of all.
All in 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a short time span because a lot of people would think they got to spend like a lifetime pretty much building up a career, and you've done it in such a short amount of time
Yeah,
compared to other people, right?
yeah, but it's all about being consistent and dedicated and honestly obsessed with what you do. It's like, for example, I've released a total of over 130 songs in
Wow.
3 weeks. I've collaborated with over 113 producers. It's always just, like contacting people saying where I can work. And usually how I do it is I like, for example, this year I have it all lined up because last year I literally made my schedule for this entire year. Behind the scenes, I'm doing all of this, but I'm also like, okay, what am I gonna start doing next year? Who am I gonna book for next year? And I have people lined up for next year already. So it's like I work like what you see, but I also work behind the scenes,
Hmm.
like planning everything in advance.
Okay, so basically, what I'm trying to understand here is you're basically your own management team. There's nobody helping you
Yeah,
out. It's just you.
just me. I'm
Wow.
independent. I read all my contracts. I make the decisions on my own. I send my music to labels. I say yes if I want it signed. I say no if I don't. I'm my own boss, basically.
Hmm.
I want it to stay like that because there's so many opportunities that I can do. Like I could work with this company, then I could work with this company, and then I could work on EDM, then I could
Hmm.
work synthwave, and then it's so endless versus being stuck in a position where, oh no, you have to only release on this label,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, that I think I agree with you. It's going to be a lot more limiting if you kind of just limit yourself to one label or one style, and in your case, I think it's working out pretty well.
Yeah.
So that's amazing, by the way. Again, so speaking of amazing, did you ever have any formal training for music, or is it just something that you learned as you went?
Singing, I've never had training. It's kind of just came natural to me because I mean, I've been singing since I was 3. How do I know that? Because my grandma, she actually gave me my very first microphone, and I always say it in every interview. She's my biggest inspiration. She's probably the reason why I started singing and there's such a love for music. And throughout my life, my parents, they bought me accordions, they bought me drum sets, they bought me harmonicas, it was always music for
Hmm.
me. Um, yeah.
It's very positive that you've had such a supportive family, by the way. I think because sometimes, I mean, maybe people don't understand that that's very important. It's not just that, okay, well, it's going to be like a little bit and then they'll get bored of it. But in your case, I think they've actually been pushing you forward. So that's good, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm. So speaking of inspirations, how do you get ideas for songs? Do you normally just write lyrics or do you also write music?
I just write the lyrics, but I also help. So sometimes I don't produce anything. So, if I'm collaborating with a producer, we kind of sit in sessions and I'm kind of like I have a really good ear with what I want, how I want it, where I want these vocals to go, where I don't want them to go, how they should sound here, how they shouldn't sound. So I kind of put my input within the production side. I think that's
Mhm.
always cool. But mostly write lyrics and I do covers and stuff like that.
Mhm. Now, as far as that moment comes, this is I like to ask this question of every musician that I talk to because everyone has a different answer for this. And basically, what I'm going to ask is, how do you get those ideas, like those stories, those words? How do they come together for you?
Mm, I get inspired by the instrumental. I kind of have to separate kind of because usually how I write lyrics is kind of universal. So it's like it can't really be about my situation. It has to be like, okay, how are like people gonna like they listen to it and they could put themselves into
Mm,
this story. Then I ask the producer like, what's the storyline that you're trying to go for? They tell me, and then I'm like, okay, so I kind of have to block out what I feel, and I kind of have to go into this world where it's the instrumental and myself and kind of just create around the world that the instrumental makes me feel. But
mhm.
it's not, my music is not really about how I personally feel. It's more, you know, what the instrumental feels like and how
Oh,
it's different because I'm always thinking, how do I make this go viral? I always study like sounds and like I get inspired by things that are already viral on TikTok. So I kind of write things that, okay, this sounds like it could be a good point where a good edit can be, and then the drop comes in. So yeah.
okay. So going along with that a little bit further, is that difficult for you, like to kind of take yourself out of yourself and write it from a different point of view, or is it easy?
Yeah, difficult. It's very difficult, and especially in the sync world, TV and film, they're challenging me a lot in songwriting. So recently they sent like for example, there's briefs that are sent to me and they're like, okay, we want you to write, for example, I don't know, for this character. Um and they kind of send me an entire it's not like a video or nothing, it's like an entire list of okay, the character wears this. The characters has this past. Um, you really have to be that character and you have to write. So it's based on the character story, so it's really hard to
Hmm.
take myself and my emotions out of the picture to write for sync, because sync has to be universal. Like it strictly has to,
Hmm.
because when it goes into like a trailer or a commercial or anything, you kind of don't want the listener to feel like, oh, this is her point of view. It has to be everybody's
Hmm.
point of view. So you can't really write like lyrics about yourself. It's really
Okay.
hard.
Yeah,
But
actually,
it's challenging.
yeah, so I was gonna ask something along those lines where like where do the stories come from? And you just mentioned that they give you this like basically a laundry list of characteristics or background details. So
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think um that world, I guess I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for right now, but I mean, do you think it's something that we should try to do every now and then? I mean, as far as musicians, maybe try to take ourselves out of our comfort zone every now and then, or or would you rather kind of maybe take some time to write stuff about yourself for once?
I think writing about yourself is really cool, but also stepping out of your comfort zone is also very awesome and it challenges you. it challenges you to kind of take yourself out of this, like the picture, and kind of think outside of the box to make it more universal sounding.
Mhm. Okay, so now as far as maybe let's say they give you a list for a character one day, and then you're finding that you're having a really difficult time coming up with ideas. Has that ever happened? And if it has, how do you get past that point where ideas kind of start flowing a little bit more naturally again?
Um, well, with me, it's kind of crazy because I can't get out of my chair if I don't finish what I have to do. Like it's like I kind of rip my head apart so much sometimes because like I could be sitting here for hours on end,
Hmm.
just like okay, like I'm stuck, but I really need to like really focus. Um, I don't know, I'm really strict on myself. Like I'm really, yeah, strict. I just can't get up my chair if I don't finish what I have to do.
I mean, I think it's a great work ethic you have because it's paid off. I mean, everything you've accomplished so far. So I think that's making you be as successful as you've been so far, and hopefully even more down the line.
Yeah,
So,
and they do say be obsessed over your craft. I
hmm.
think I'm kind of over the top about it.
Uh-huh. So as far as the recording process go, you talked a little bit about that a little while ago. But let's say, for example, are you the kind of artist or singer that tries to capture a specific moment in a recording, even though it may not be like the most perfectly sounding take? Or do you keep working at it until it's just the way you want it to sound?
I keep working at it until like I want it to sound the way it has to sound.
Hmm.
That's kind of like on every song that I've worked on. I spend days and days and days just like it could literally be like, for example, one word. That one
Hmm.
word takes me about like 20 minutes, because to me it sounds good, but I have to also, okay, if I was just a random listener, would it actually sound good? So I kind of sit there and I adjust everything. Like, let's say there's like a and didn't sound good. I take that little section off and I continue re-recording about 6 to 8 takes until I find the perfect fit. And then after I find the perfect fit, I go back in and I do another 4 takes to match, that's that perfect one that I did. Um, but yeah, I'm the kind of artist that I need every single line to sound good.
Hmm. I think one of the things that people don't realize, because I mean, of course, they're not familiar with how the recording works, right? But I think you've explained it really well. There's certain times where you think you sang a line okay and it sounds good, and then you hear it in the mix and it sounds off somehow, right? So it's like, oh, I got to do that again because I don't like the way that like I sang that word a little bit too fast, or I sang that it's a little bit out of tune or something like that. So I think it's something that yeah, like a lot of people don't really understand because they're not familiar with that process. But it's something that happens, and it's something that it can be a little frustrating, no, sometimes, or is it just part of the job?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, as far as equipment in the studio, do you have a specific setup, or do you just work with what? Let's say you show up at a studio and we have this mic
Oh,
here and go for it.
no, I invested in everything that I have. I have everything here in my room, which I found it so much easier because like I don't like let's say it's 3 in the morning. I don't have to depend on the studio. Like, oh my God, I have this idea, you know. I have a specific setup here that I work with, and I've
Okay.
learned it all by myself.
I was gonna ask, like, did you ever have any help as far as how to record the process? Everything is just self-taught?
Yeah, self-taught. I had no idea how to work Ableton when I got it. It looked like something out of this world, but I was like months at it, like, okay, what is reverb and what's delay, what's EQ, what's compression, and I just went all in, and I now I know how to mix my own vocals. Sometimes. producers don't even have to mix my vocals because I clean everything up, I mix everything myself, and I send it off.
Oh wow. I was actually gonna be my next question, like how involved are you in the studio work? But I mean, you just described how you are really hands-on with that process.
Hmm.
So that's again amazing because
Hmm.
it's again one of those things that people may not be aware of as to what goes behind the scenes of a recording, right? Because everyone thinks, oh, it's just singing and the microphone and that's it. But there's a whole lot more that goes behind the scenes as far as like you said, the compression, delay, and then mixing everything together. So it's a process, and it's great that you've learned how to do that on your own.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I do want to ask you, go back a little bit to what we talked about earlier. How does it feel that your music is doing so well in places like you mentioned, like for example, Ukraine, right? You said, which is halfway across the world, and yet maybe people here may not be too familiar with who you are. How what is that feeling like? Like, okay, so my songs are being heard over there, but here I still need to work a little bit harder to be acknowledged. Is that weird to you, or is that just something that
Uh,
happened?
no, it's not weird. And I don't blame people that don't know about me, only because I kind of just went my own direction. I'm not the type of person to, like brag about what I'm doing or shove it in people's faces. I kind of just was in the background, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't really blame people that don't know about me. I don't think it's weird. I think it's normal. And it's also because most of the producers that I work with, the one that blew up in Ukraine, that was a Ukrainian producer, so it's obvious it would get known over there.
Mhm.
I work with producers in Germany, some in Japan, um, like Armenia, so obviously their audience is more over there. So I work with those kinds of people, so it's more known over there.
Mhm.
Um, but I definitely would love people to know who I am here in the valley, which, you know, in its time would happen.
I think it will. I think it's coming for you. It's just one of those things that I think it's strange how sometimes you gotta knock on doors down the neighborhood before you can knock on the door next to you. Like, but I think it's just part of it, like you said, and I think you're doing great with that, by the way.
Hmm.
So now speaking about working with maybe something here, I know, and I regret that I couldn't go that time, but you had some sort of like a little music festival a couple months ago now, or like a little
Mm,
like a shows here somewhere locally.
was it at Luna?
Yeah, that was the one, and you actually reached out to me, I think, and I couldn't make it because I was doing something else that night. But what I want to ask you is, how was that experience? How was that for you? Is it something that you might want to consider doing again at some point in the future, or how is that? How do you think about that?
The turnout was awesome. I thought probably five people would show up, but no, like literally the whole place was full. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I was like, I mean, again, nobody knows about me down here. Like,
Mhm.
what are all these people doing here? I was so shocked. I was so grateful and so blessed for every single person that showed up. Uh, Doing it again, I mean, yeah, I probably would. But at the moment, I like a lot of these people that reach out to me, they want me to like be the headliner. But
Mhm.
personally, I know I have millions of streams and my stuff has been on TV. But honestly, I would prefer to start off more like I open for somebody else. I
Mhm.
don't, again, I don't really like my success doesn't make me feel like, oh, I should be the headliner of the show. Like, no, I kind of feel like I should start off like, not headlining a show, but more being an opener
Mhm.
for events. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in that case, you mentioned that sometimes you have to reach out to them, but has it gotten to a point where people are reaching out to you now? Like, hey, we heard about you and we want to work with you in this or that. Is that something that's already happening for you?
Like as far as collaborations
Uh-huh. Uh,
uh
that
or
that
like
that or performances, either like whichever one.
performances, yeah. they're reaching out to me. As far as collaborations, I'm still reaching out to people, you know, which isn't
Uh-huh.
a big thing because there's very like specific sounds that I want to go for and aim. So it's really, really cool to reach out to other people.
So, is there anybody on your list that you're like, I really would like to work on this person at some point?
Yeah, so
Hmm.
I believe they're from Germany. They are these TV and film composers that they've worked with like for Tomb Raider and they've done soundtracks for like I believe a movie with Megan Fox.
Oh, wow.
Huge guys. I've actually talked to them this year for a collaboration and they said they're open to it. Um, but obviously they're busy working
Yeah.
on placements. So, it's just the wait and stuff. The other person that I'd love to work with is Etta Hayes. She's a cinematic vocalist. I'm also talking to her. Um, but again, patience.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm already in the talks with the two people that I've been dying to work with, honestly, since I've started music. So hopefully that happens.
I think it will at some point. At some point, you're gonna be able to accomplish all those things. So, going back a little bit to what we talked about, maybe like getting the community a little more involved. How do you think that people here, either yourself or us that are musicians or anybody else really, how do you think that we could accomplish making the spaces for musicians be more open again? Like how can we get those local spaces to be more accessible to people? Because
Uh,
because like I've just real quick before you answer, like speaking with other musicians, some of them are saying, man, like they're not calling me from this place anymore, or like I was gonna play at this place and they canceled my gig because there's no turnouts. So how do you feel we can work with that, like, or how, to improve that rather?
mm, I mean, I'd love for people to like know that there's more options than just live performances. I know that since I've started, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you need to do live shows in order to become something." But honestly, like I feel like they could really expand themselves. If you have a computer, you can do so many things. It's like you have the whole world in your hands. But I also feel like bars and stuff that I guess do live music. I feel like they should be open to more genres and let more people in. Even if you're new, even if you have like one monthly listener, like you can give people a chance. And I feel like if people have more of an open mind and more of like, oh my God, like I want to see this person succeed. I see something bright. And even though it's covers, or originals, like I feel like people should be open more to anything, and that's what makes the community come together and stuff like that. I feel like just being supportive in what musicians do,
Mhm.
as far as, not kind of nitpicking like, oh, you do covers, I don't want to put you to sing live. Oh, if you do like originals only you can sing or be
Mhm.
interviewed or stuff like that. I just think that if people just start having a more open mind and give new like opportunities and more opportunities to upcoming artists and artists that, you know, want to perform, like I feel like they should be more open,
Mhm.
not closing doors because there's a lot of talent down here. And a lot of people seem to be like, oh, well, if you don't do, country or Tejano, we don't want you playing in this bar. But, if you put more genres, the audience would be more bigger, you know?
Mhm. I agree with you. That to me makes a lot of sense, and it sometimes surprises me that I've come across places like that where like it's no, like we if you don't have this much, or actually sometimes they even ask you to bring people, which is like, I mean, I can bring a few people like my family or my friends, whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, but after that, it's I think I mean the responsibility of the venue, right,
Yeah.
to promote it, and I think I agree with you. I think they should be a lot more open-minded and they should push for this a little bit more. So that's a
Yeah,
great
I
answer.
mean, I feel like how can you bring people if, you know, a lot of these places are not letting artists that are smaller and upcoming perform. You know,
Hmm.
if you let them perform, then they'll get more audience, and then, you know, they'll bring more people, and
Hmm.
that's how people get known. You know, so yeah.
Definitely. So a couple more questions before we wrap up here real quick. So have you any projects in the making right now that you might want to share with us as far as any songs you might be working on, or is there anything that it's about to come out in the next couple weeks, or how do you feel about that?
Um, that's very confidential.
Okay,
All I
that's
can
that
say
works.
is it's big. And it's stuff that I never thought that I would be doing, you know, especially
Hmm.
when a lot of stuff in the TV and film world, you know, working with people that I've admired, just big things are going to be coming. And yeah,
That's amazing. I really want to hear that when it comes
yeah,
out.
yeah, it's going to come out soon.
Hmm.
And it's very shocking to me too. Um,
I'll be
but
keeping an eye out for sure.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the TV and film world.
Hmm. Okay, and I my last question here would be, as an artist, as a singer, how would you like, or what would you like rather, for people to get from your music, as far as not necessarily maybe that they become your fan or something like that, but is there anything that you as a musician, how would that I guess the way what I'm trying to ask it is what would make you feel fulfilled as an artist from a person's reaction to your music, or how they perceive your music?
Um, Honestly, just if I can touch somebody's heart with a song or two, like that makes me feel like, okay, my job here is done. If my story can inspire other artists to continue to do what they want to do and kind of push boundaries and stuff like that and get inspired by what I'm doing, I feel like that makes me very happy and content, you know, because um why I do what I do is to inspire other people, you know, that hey, like even if you're from the valley or anywhere in the world, you know, if you feel like you're so small, like don't let it intimidate you. Like you can still do big things. You know, whether it's doing live shows or recording in your bedroom, if it's doing covers or originals, like you kind of I like if my story can touch their heart and inspire them to continue following their dream and passion, then that makes me very happy.
And I think that's worked out for you because you mentioned there's like 45 million streams, so I think you touched quite a few hearts there.
And that's like just on one song.
Hmm.
Another song is gonna hit 20 million, and then they have other songs on YouTube with like 14 million. Overall, it's like 100 million.
That's really amazing. I mean, it's really, for me as someone here from the Valley, I'm really happy that someone like you is being that successful, because I feel like I agree with you. You mentioned that there's a lot of talent here, and I think that we need to open up our doors to showcase what we have here, because I think there's a lot of people here that can do really good things in music.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I also want to add that I'm very thankful for Tommy Prophet for seeing my talent and hearing my voice and giving me the opportunity to work with him, giving me the opportunity to be on the Grand Ole Opry. Honestly, because of him, my career has changed and it's been amazing. And I feel very blessed to have worked with Tommy Prophet. You know, he changed my life.
That is amazing. Well, before we wrap up, can you please just let people know where they can find you as far as your artist name, your social media profiles?
Mhm. My artist name is Staarz, Staarz. And I have a Spotify under Staarz, and you can find my stuff on TikTok, YouTube, and my Instagram is Staarz Music as well.
All right, that's great. Well, thank you very much for taking some time to speak with us today. I really appreciate you doing that for us, and I really want to again congratulate you on your success and to tell you that I think you're gonna even go even further with your next project. So I'm really looking forward, maybe speaking to you again later on and tell me something big has happened for you, maybe some awards by that time or something. So, okay, well, that's going to be all for us here today. Thank you very much for joining us, and it's a wrap up.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.